Hello, I'm Gallagher, Columban priest, working in Peru for, I suppose, 40 years now. It has been an interesting life. Oftentimes I'm asked, and what parish are you in now, Father? And then suddenly, of course, I realised that I haven't been formally working in a parish for over 20 years. So people look at me and sort of say, well, what does he do? Yeah, I have been involved in administration, but I suppose my work, or as I see it and define it, has been supporting civil society to respond to the demands of our time. And I suppose that started maybe even back when I was a policeman many years ago, when my belief always was in justice. I believe that justice is a very important part of Christian ministry. And from my time in Peru early on, I became involved in SEAS, the Episcopal Commission of Social Action in Lima. And I was detained at one stage in Ayacucho in the mountains during the time of Sendero Luminoso, the Shining Path movement. Of course, anyone who was involved in talking of human rights at that stage was regarded as being under suspicion. But that, I have never lost that yearning for justice and that yearning to be involved in civil society, be involved with civil society. And I believe that still is hugely important. So when I say I haven't been in a parish for the last 20 years, that's true. I haven't been formally in a parish formally working in a parish for the last 20 years. But yes, I have been working, I've been involved in a lot of different ways in civil society organisations. I suppose the big one would have been that changed my life would have been being involved in an organisation that I established, Si Da Vida, which means yes to life. And that was related to the struggle at that time in the face of the HIV pandemic, and the number of people who were dying of AIDS at that time, and with apparently very little organisation support for them in getting medicines and getting their rights recognised. But that Si Da Vida then takes on a life of its own, and it works. It doesn't necessarily need me there. But I've always stayed involved with civil society, and I suppose the most recent one has been during the pandemic. The pandemic, suddenly we were confronted with a situation where churches closed. So people were saying, where is the church? The church, of course, is always there insofar as the people of God are always present. So how to accompany people in a situation of a pandemic where there are so many needs, a pandemic that unmasked so many inequalities in society. And we found ourselves confronted with situations of hunger, with situations of medicine that was needed, of oxygen that was needed, trying to help people. But of course, every response needs to be organised, and it was out of there that the Social Action Network of the Civil Society of Northern Lima, we established that by working with others. And that, of course, is the whole issue of civil society, is to get people organised. Where we have commissions on the whole issue of education, health, and of course including mental health, which is this pandemic is leaving an incredible, another pandemic that is mental health. People who have, especially children who have been deprived of whole processes of socialisation that are so necessary during further development. As well as that, the whole issue of hunger and setting up common pots where people come together to work, setting up bio-huertos, as we call them, which are sort of organic gardens where people try to grow vegetables to help to help with their with food. So all that, but that level of organisation and keeping people involved and networking with each other, and that to me is church in action. To work with that we can somewhere be involved there and have an ethical input into what is happening in civil society. It has often been said to me, you're the only white-haired man in the middle of a group of young people at a protest. And yes, at times I do feel the whole issue of age, but the second thing I feel is the sense of privilege. The privilege to be able to accompany people who are searching for their rights, searching for being promoters of life and life with dignity. That is what moves me, that's what keeps me going, and that's what I have been privileged to be allowed to accompany. I thank God for my gift as a priest, and even though I may not have a parish, I have a parish which is much bigger. Thank you very much.